Hi, I'm Kelly Doherty, and I'm here with Karen, and we're here to answer your questions about grief. If you like our information, make sure you subscribe to our channel so you can stay up to date on all of our latest videos. And we do release new videos every Wednesday and Saturday. So, hi, Karen, how are you?
Hi, Kelly. Good to see you.
Good to see you. So, today the question is, how do I deal with feeling lazy while grieving?
Well, it's a good question. And I think even just the word lazy is such a hard one, for people. And it's got so many sort of negative feelings that go along with it. And it kind of speaks to the ways people feel like they've changed when they're grieving. And I think it's really challenging. And we have that video about like the symptoms. And if we look to the symptoms, it makes so much sense. We're talking about a person who's feeling exhausted and overwhelmed and just lacking interest and not feeling terribly motivated. Also, probably feeling kind of withdrawn from like their normal activities and the people they're spending time with, all of that. And so it's kind of like you put all of those symptoms together and you're going to find a person who's wanting to spend more time on their couch. I've had so many people talk to me this week about Netflix. Like, all I'm doing is watching Netflix. Like, that's all I'm doing, you know? And it's
Yep.
like some parts of that I want to be like, well, that's okay. I mean, it is okay to be doing that in terms of like healing and resting and just tuning out a little bit and trying to distract yourself. But it can be so uncomfortable for people because let's face it, we like to be productive and we like to be active and we like to feel like we're participating. And it's very difficult to do. And then all of a sudden, people feel this shift. And that's what people, they start calling themselves lazy. Like, I've just been so lazy. And it's such a horrible thing to be thinking about ourselves. Like, to say I'm grieving and to say that I'm healing and all of that is like one mindset, but to say like I'm lazy, and the part of it is that I think for some people it really starts to feel like this new personality. This is who I am now. I'm just this person who just doesn't want to do anything, doesn't want to take care of my house, doesn't want to talk to anybody, and I just want to like hole up in here and like sleep, or watch TV. So that's the part that I always want to try to help people understand, is that it's not this complete and total overhaul of your personality. I mean, there's no question that we change when we grieve, and that even in the aftermath and the years that follow, there's going to be pieces of it that we keep with us that are going to shape who we are and how we approach situations. But those acute kind of early symptoms of the exhaustion and of the kind of pulling away and the lack of interest are parts of the grieving process that don't stay with you forever. Meaning, rather than kind of labeling yourself as lazy and really kind of feeling like, oh, I guess this is who I am now, and sinking into it further, because I think that's kind of the cycle that starts to happen. It's important to just kind of don't call yourself lazy, call yourself grieving. It's such a huge difference.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think it's about practicing some self-compassion
Right.
and just being kind to ourselves, which we're not great at, right? The majority of us are not. I think the research says that, 85% of us are nicer to other people than we are to ourselves. But I think that number is probably even low. I think it's probably like
Yeah.
more like 99%,
I
right?
was going to say, yeah.
But, so just being patient with yourself and kind with yourself, especially in the very early days of grief. Yes, your brain is trying to make sense of things. Grief is so physically exhausting that people don't realize how exhausting it is. And so there's going to be days where you do just need to veg out and watch Netflix. I just heard, a client talking about she just got sick with COVID, but that time gave her that opportunity to just be lazy, right?
Yeah.
And she needed that
Yeah.
because grief it is exhausting, and we have so much on our plate, and we sometimes just need to take that time to just binge on Netflix.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that you're lazy. I think it's a good reframe of thinking of like, I'm taking care of myself.
Right.
I'm being kind to myself. I'm engaging in self-care. So I am doing what I need to be doing for myself right now. So kind of maybe even a little bit of a reframe like that can be helpful.
Absolutely. And it definitely highlights the difference between how we treat our physical health versus our emotional and mental health. That, if we have COVID, if we have the flu, if we're not feeling well, that we can give ourselves permission, I think, easier, to kind of just take it slow. And if I need to take time from work, or if I need to just pull back from commitments or let the house go or whatever, it's like, well, I'm not feeling well, and it's like that we get that, I understand. And probably because we've been at those places at different parts of our lives, but like, our emotional and mental health needs that kind of break too. So I do try to tell people that, like, treat it like a sick day, just kind of understand that emotionally you're not well, that you are not in a place to be doing things in the way that you could. And it definitely comes back to expectations. I had a group last night. We had a big talk about expectations and
Right.
how we continue to keep them very high,
Yep.
despite everything that's happened, just trying to keep maintaining and maintaining everything that you've been doing all along, which only fuels the exhaustion, which only fuels, I think, the frustration in not being able to do that. And I think understanding too, because this, from the people on the outside, it may be hard to see, but a lot of the grieving people I talk to, it's like they feel weighted down. Like it's almost like I have stepped my feet in concrete, and that's how quickly I can move doing anything. They just feel slower and harder to respond, and everything just feels like it's kind of in slow motion for them.
Yeah.
So, it's like pay attention to those cues.
Absolutely. There's a really good children's book that I like, and it's called The Grief Rock. And it talks about when we're grieving, this rock shows up, and sometimes it's so overwhelming and so heavy that we can't do anything. And then other times it's more manageable, and we can kind of still do our things while holding on to that rock, right?
Yeah.
And I think it's a great like visualization to think about, because sometimes that rock just feels so big and you do just need to take care of yourself and just maybe lay on the couch,
Yeah.
and that's okay.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. I think, again, just trying to reframe it and trying to, think of it in terms of self compassion, self care, and understanding that it's not forever. I really feel like if we could just say to ourselves, and people, say to me later, like, I didn't believe you when you said it. But, one of the things I say to people all the time is that you're not going to feel this way forever. It's just not. I mean, things are going to change, going to shift. It's not going to say that things suddenly get easier, go back to normal. But this specific feeling, this lazy feeling, like that feeling of like, I just physically can't get up and do any more or be more engaged, it's not going to stay that way.
Yeah,
And when people talk about feeling better, that's the stuff that starts to come back a little bit more energy, a little bit more interest, still sad, still crying. I mean,
absolutely, absolutely.
it's the grief is still there, but we can be maybe a little bit, more active again. And that's why I use the word participating, because someone said that to me one time. They're like, I just feel like I'm participating in my life again. I'm like, great way to put it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
All
Absolutely.
right. Well, thank you so much, Karen.
Yes.
And thanks for watching. And again, if you like our videos, please make sure you subscribe and stay tuned for more. Take care.